tag. Very nice, very evil.
Yeah, that's tag shit.
Free fall as I die through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama, I don't really.
What up, Tag Nation? It's your boy, Scooter Ray, aka your favorite tag member, whether you like it or not. And I'm here to talk about AEW's WrestleDream. It was their pay-per-view from Saturday night from the great state of Washington, and it was a show. Like, they had some highs, they had some lows, and even some pretty emotional parts. And don't worry, I'm faceless today. I'm only hearing voice. I'm going to try to run things down as fast, as quick as possible. I'm going to make it as coherent and everything as possible. But before I get into WrestleDream, let me update y'all on the going-ons of tag. Now, per last night, after a 10-month shutout, Lip Dizzle is now champion again. Yes, Lip Dizzle, my eternal rival in this tag prediction thing, is currently tag prediction champion. Now, what makes him even more dangerous is that he's tag prediction champion and the Money in the Bank holder. So we'll definitely see how that goes for this channel. And from the way he's been talking in them comments, it's like he's about to be on some Triple H Reign of Terror levels of a reign. But we shall see. We shall see. But let's kick it off. Of course, you know, an AEW pay-per-view isn't nothing without a 0 hour. And their 0 hour lasted about 90 minutes. Of course, it was a mixture of matches. It was a mixture of segments, interviews, and things like that. First match on the 0 hour, you had Atlantis Jr. defending his ROH television championship against Brian Cage. Brian Cage is the new television champ. You had Harley Cameron with Saraya versus Anna Jay. Anna Jay gets that dub. You have the MXM Collection versus the Acclaim. Now, the MXM Collection did boast that they was going to have a backup to take care of Billy Gunn. And who may that backup be? Rico. Yes, that Rico from WWE days, back when, you know, Ghost of Billy's past, when it was the whole Chuck and Billy tag team, and, you know, when they was trying to get Chuck and Billy to marry and all of that. But yeah, Rico was their third man to kind of be their enforcer or whatever. It didn't matter because everybody loves the Acclaim, and the Acclaim won. And there was another match. You had Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly of the Conglomeration teaming along with Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnum of the Outrunners versus the premier athletes of Aria Daivari and Tony Nese and the Dark Order's John Silver and Alex Reynolds. Conglomeration and Outrunners won. That's pretty much that. They're on YouTube if you want to go back and watch it. It wasn't like they were the most just things to see, but, you know, pre-show, 0 hour. And let's get into this main show with them opening up. Hangman Adam Page versus Switchblade Jay White. Now, this match did come about because Hangman has been, you know, angry Hangman. He's been disgruntled, pissed off, mad at the world Hangman. He finally exercised his demon and finally defeating Swerve. I mean, we saw the man go as far as burning down Swerve's childhood home. Now, this was kind of more came about when Hangman and Jeff Jarrett had a lumberjack strap match. He didn't take too kindly to the Bang Bang Gang and, you know, the way they was using their straps. So he kind of started a little beef with the Bang Bang Gang, which finally brought Jay White back out because, you know, he's been injured. So boom, we're here at this because Jay White is like, hey, I'm trying to get to that belt. I'm trying to be champion here. And I know I need to start by going through former champ Hangman. This wasn't a bad match, especially for something that was kind of put together quickly. Like, it wasn't like this was the most put together match like the main event with Danielson and Moxley, but for something that kind of came about and within like a week or two time, they went out there and had them a pretty good match. One of the highlights was the fact that Hangman was kind of selling a leg injury because it got damaged throughout the match. So some of the closing moments was Hangman hit the dead eye on Jay White, hurt himself kind of more because hit the dead eye. Then it was like, okay, I'm staggering. I'm gonna try to hit this buckshot. When he was finally able to muster up the strength to hit the buckshot, as soon as he did the flipping part of the lariat, hurt himself. Blow. Game over. Game over. Switchblade hit that finisher. 1, 2, 3. Out of here. Blade run. Out of here. And surprisingly, Jay White with the dub. And it was kind of one of them like, I kind of, you know, personally speaking with my prediction, I was like Hanger, as Jared like to call him. Hanger, because he's been angry. He's been on a tear. He's been, in essence, losing his mind. I thought Hangman was going to get it, but they also selling that aspect of he's letting his anger, he's letting his obsession blind him, and that's why he keeps taking these L's and things like that. Next up, we had for the AEW Women's Championship, the Glamour Mariah May, jeez, get the words out, versus Willow Nightingale. Now, if y'all ever heard me do my reviews before, I tend to say things like, you kind of know who's going to win certain matches, or you don't feel like a belt was going to change. That's what this match felt like. Mariah is still pretty early in her title reign, so never did I feel like Willow was going to win. Not saying Willow isn't deserving, because the crowd, Willow is starting to become one of them people that the crowd truly loves. It's not just because of gimmick, it's not just because of whatever. People genuinely love them some Willow. So if the belt would have changed hands last night, I don't think nobody would have been upset. But like I said, it didn't feel like a title was going to change. But ultimately, it still was a solid match. Willow, unfortunately, took the loss. Mariah May, Lord, how could I not get this woman's name out? Mariah May is still the champion. Now, I'm wondering, are they saving Mariah to possibly go back against Tony again? Maybe there's somebody else they're waiting to truly have a program, because really all of Mariah's opponents she's been having almost seem kind of just rushed and shoot in almost. Like, there hasn't been no true proper build up with her and the people she has defended the championship against. Personal speaking, of course. But Mariah is still your champ. And we'll see what happens next with Willow. We'll see what happens next. Next up for the TNT Championship, we have the scapegoat, Jack Perry, defending against Katsuyori Shibata. Once again, this was one of those matches where it kind of just happened. Like, I want to say maybe a week or two. It was build because Shibata went up to Jack Perry. You know, he has the translation on the phone, and he was like, championship match. Perry was kind of like, no. Perry jumped him, and then it kind of led here. Same thing. I didn't see a title change here. It didn't feel like a title change. It didn't feel like nothing was going to happen with this one. Like, I did not at one point that I was like, Shibata's gonna walk away with the championship. Not at one point. Like, I'm just be 1,000% honest with you. But after Perry gets the dub, we do get Perry trying to jump on Shibata, get some extra cheap shots in. Then the music of Daniel Garcia hits. Garcia kind of chases away Perry, and then MJF's music hits. MJF and Garcia kind of have, mainly MJF, really. They kind of have words. MJF does beat down Garcia, really beating him down, and then he was selling about to hit him with the ring, and then we hear Adam Cole's music hit. Now, MJF was looking at Adam Cole like, oh, what you gonna do? Hobble to the ring? Nope. Cole in full sprint comes to the ring, chases off MJF, and now we know Adam Cole is back, baby. And he helped up Garcia, and boom, you got the moment. So it looks like we're gonna finally get MJF and Adam Cole soon, and it looks like maybe Jack Perry has his new challenger in Daniel Garcia. Next up, possibly my favorite match of the night. If I'm truly being honest, possibly my favorite match of the night. If not number one, it's definitely number two. For the International Championship, you have Will Ospreay defending against Ricochet and Konosuke Takeshita. And of course, Takeshita gots to have Don Callis in his corner because he was in ringside doing commentary. They put on a show. They did what they needed to do between these three men. The only thing about this match is, and this is a true, honest thing, who truly cares about the International Championship? Yeah, I know Ospreay is giving it life. Ospreay is kind of making it cool. I know when MJF had it, it was the American Championship. But in all honesty, who's really like, I'm loving the International Championship? But fine, it's cool, whatever. They did put on a banger of a match. The closing moments of this was Takeshita took out Ricochet through a table, and Ospreay and Takeshita was going at it. Ospreay hit Takeshita with the hidden blade, I want to say twice, and right when he was getting a pinfall, Don Callis pulls the ref out. When Callis pulls the ref out, a man in the hood hits Ospreay in the back of the head. Of course, it ended up being Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher jumps on Ospreay. I want to say, did he hit the Tiger Driver on Ospreay? I can't remember. I want to say he hit the Tiger Driver on Ospreay, and then it led to Takeshita hitting that big knee. Then they got the Fletcher did hit him with the Tiger Driver. I want to say it might have been after, but regardless, Takeshita hit that big knee. 1, 2, 3, and new international champion Konosuke Takeshita. And we'll see, because now Ospreay got betrayed by his buddy, his bestie, his running mate back when they was the United Empire, and Will Ospreay. So we'll see where that goes down the line. Next up, it was a 2 out of 3 falls match between Hologram and the Beast Mortos. I 1000% feel this is a collision match. And since this was taking place on Saturday, they went ahead and had this match here. Not that it wasn't a bad match, but Hologram has been basically running roughshod in collision. He's 14-0. So of course, more of this was like, hey, is he gonna lose his streak? This, that, and the third. And of course, Beast Mortos is part of not the LIJ, but Los Ingobernables. I think it's a Los Ingobernables, led by Jake the Snake now. Hologram gets the first fall. Beast Mortos get the second fall. Hologram ultimately wins. His record still remains spotless, technically, at 15-0. There you go. Not too much, not too more with that. Now, this one, a grudge match. We've seen these men do battle throughout time in AEW. Now, the only thing here was this match was a little weirder of a setup because Darby lost his championship opportunity to Mox, and Darby was like, well, I need an opponent for WrestleDream. And Brody King answered him. Now, it was answered in a way like, we're eternal rivals. We've been doing this. This is like a forever thing type of situation, which was fine. But considering they've had better build-up between Darby and King, that this one was kind of like, not saying it wasn't a bad match, but it was the fact that we've seen better build-up with these two. But ultimately, Darby gets the W. And it's looking like they're building Darby up. They're building Darby up to finally go for the world championship. He lost his shot to Mox. So now it's kind of like, I'm gonna have to build it back up from scratch type of thing. So it seems like they're building Darby up to make it to where, okay, he's conquered this person, he's conquered that person, he's doing this, he's doing that. Now I think he'll be ready for that world championship. Another, possibly my third favorite match of the night. Surprisingly, for the AEW Tag Team Championships, you got the EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson versus Zay and Quinn of Private Party. They went out there and had them a match. They really did. Now, y'all know what I've been saying before. It did not feel like the titles was going to change hands. But boy, oh boy, were there moments where it felt like it could happen. I will say this. From the performance Private Party had in this match, they really should be taken more seriously as a tag team. And one thing I read that I do kind of agree with, they keep referencing back to when Private Party defeated Young Bucks 5 years ago in that tag team tournament to determine the first tag team champions. And it's like, okay, stop talking about that. Private Party has went through so much changes. The Bucks have went through so much changes. We can stop talking about that match where Private Party upset the Bucks. We can stop talking about it. But they went out there and had them a pretty decent match. Like, I was actually surprised at how much I actually enjoyed the match and how much I got invested in the match, because it was like, wait, could Private Party steal the belts away from the Bucks? But at the same time, it's kind of hard when Perry retained, Okada is still champion. So it's kind of like, But ultimately, the Bucks retained. They retained, and Private Party kind of had their little moment. And then you had Stokely in the audience laughing because Stokely's like, look, I've been trying to get y'all to join my ranks. And if you was with me, this wouldn't have had happened. And speaking of Okada, it seems like Kyle O'Reilly is going to be the next to challenge Okada for the Continental Championship. I see that happening in the foreseeable future because of a little backstage altercation that happened between the two men. And speaking of loyalties, I can't remember where it fell in the show, but before we get to these last two matches, Swerve had a segment where, Swerve was coming out there and he was saying that he's technically not 100%. He's not, fully cleared yet. He's still trying to build his body back up, this, that, and the third. And, he was just kind of like almost directionless. Safe to say. 1 second, peep. Sorry about that. And then, of course, we get the arrival of MVP and his complaint department, Shelton Benjamin. And they were saying, hey, how can you want to be with Nana when all of this, basically you lost 2 straight pay-per-views. One of them, you lost your championship. Another one, your family house got burned down. So it's like, how can you in essence still want to be with Nana? When you can come be with me, we have history, we have a thing, and it's like, come on and join your boy P, And eventually, with words, it lets Swerve say, yeah, all of this happened under Nana, you're right, but at the same time, I wouldn't have had none of this if it wasn't for Nana. Nana's more than a manager, he's family, and I don't betray family. So, of course, that pissed off P and Benjamin, which it looks like we might get possibly a match at some point down the line. But, funny enough, all of this looked like it was going to be a setup for somebody to show up. Of course, everybody's thinking and assuming it was going to be Bobby Lashley, but it looked like it was a setup for somebody to show up, and it didn't happen. And I get why this segment was on WrestleDream, because they was in Tacoma. I want to say that is Swerve's hometown. So it was like, have the hometown boy show up. But this could have been on Dynamite. This Wednesday, this segment could have been on Dynamite. And there was a backstage segment with Leo Rush saying he is all elite, and him walking into, P and Benjamin interrupting Leo Rush. And then it seems like maybe on Dynamite, we might get Shelton Benjamin versus Leo Rush. I don't know. We shall see. But that was that segment. Second to the last match, we have for the ROH World Championship, we got the champ, Mark Briscoe, versus the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, who's trying to become the Nueve. In his words, he's trying to be the Nueve. And one thing, and one of these tropes, of course, dealing with wrestling, to invoke emotion, to evoke, whatever, Jericho had to bring up Jay Briscoe. He had to bring up that, hey, maybe Jay Briscoe can beat me, but I don't think you were the man that Jay is. And, Mark did promptly pop him in the mouth for that. So this match was Jericho trying to become a world champion again, and a 2-time ROH world champion, and Mark Briscoe trying to prove himself. Or in his words, I'm trying to add Jericho's head to the wall. And it wasn't a bad match. It really wasn't. Should it have been this far in the card, personally speaking? No. I think maybe the Bucks and Private Party, from the way that match went, that should have been possibly the match before the main event. But this was not a bad match. So don't take it as that. It wasn't a bad match. Ultimately, Mark Briscoe did retain. Pretty much. Mark Briscoe retained. Jay Driller, Froggy Bow, all of that stuff. Mainly the Jay Driller was the one that did it. But yes, Mark Briscoe proved he can beat Chris Jericho. And now, getting to that main event. Now, of course, this is for all the marbles, because if y'all haven't been knowing, if y'all need to be caught up on, Danielson pretty much said when he loses the belt, or when he loses a match, period, that's when his full-time wrestling career is over. So essentially, since he won the championship off of Swerve at All In, it was going to be whoever gets that belt up off me. My in-ring career pretty much is over. Not saying I'm done completely, but as far as being full-time, here all the time, it will be done. And this match came about when Mox, of course, came back and he was talking about how this ain't your company no more and all of this. And then he was like, hey, Darby, I need you to give me your title shot because you're not ready. You can't get the job done, blah, blah, blah. Mox and Darby had a match at Grand Slam. Mox won. We're here. And of course, when Danielson retained against I forgot who it was. He had retained against. That's when, you know, the whole BCC betrayed him and everything. So we're here now. We are here. Oh, after he retained against Jack Perry. BCC betrayed him. Yuta was the only one who was kind of like, no, Danielson is still the homie. So Yuta has been kind of fighting against Pac and Claudio, which, you know, the three of them are the trios champions. So it's just been a whole whirlwind. And this will be my favorite match of the night because of the emotion, because of the implications, and, you know, the whole former brothers fighting, and they went out there and had them a match. It wasn't pretty. It was very gritty. It was very just hatred and vitriol and animosity written all over this match. Marina Shafir kept interfering until finally she got caught by the ref and thrown out. And it ultimately led to Moxley choking out Danielson. Yep, you heard me correctly. Moxley choked out Danielson to become the new AEW World Champion, which now makes him 4-time World Champion. And then when the BCC came out to dispatch of Danielson again, Yuta came out there to fight him off. And then Yuta and somebody else, I forgot who the somebody else was, but Yuta betrayed Danielson. He started beating up on Danielson. Then he even took the plastic bag, put it over Danielson, started smothering him, while the rest of the gang was just kind of beating up any and everybody who was all the security and whoever. They was just going crazy until finally a whole slew of wrestlers came out. And then it led to, you know, the BCC finally running off, retreating and everything. And then Danielson laid there in a heap. He was getting stretchered out. I think it was Darby who tried to come out there and help. Darby was visibly upset and everything. And it kind of just went off. Like it seemed like it had a hard stop and it just went off. But yeah, Danielson lost his match to Jon Moxley. And now his full-time career is over with. No telling when we're going to hear from Danielson again. No telling or anything. It was just like, wow. Didn't think so soon. That Danielson was going to lose the belt. That, you know, maybe, just maybe, you know, he would have held the belt at least to World's End. And that way, you know, he could have went ahead and rode out all of 2024. But nah, Moxley got that belt up off of him. So we'll see what happens. And that's pretty much WrestleDream. We'll see what goes down Wednesday because, you know, it'll be follow-up. and we'll see what storylines start to advance in this and the third. But that's pretty much WrestleDream as a whole. Overall, it was a pretty solid show. AEW pay-per-views are going to be somewhat long. It was 9 matches on the main show, 4 on the pre. But overall, it was entertaining. Like, I can't say that it was just like, oh my God, I want this show just end. No, it was entertaining. Very entertaining show. I can't wait to see how they start to build things up on the road to Full Gear, because that is the next pay-per-view, and I want to say it's in 4 weeks. So we'll see how Full Gear goes. But yeah, WrestleDream. Congrats to the new champs of Konosuke Takeshita, Brian Cage, John Moxley, and of course on our end, Lip Dizzle. But yeah, whether you loved it or hated it, don't forget to rate it. Thumbs up, thumbs down, preferably thumbs up. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you thought of WrestleDream and how things are going to go forward. After you do all that, you got to subscribe. And after you subscribe, you got to tag that notification bell, so you can be notified for hot tags, quick tags, tag me ins, Dizzle moments, tier lists, whatever we post on the channel, Give a shout out to, once again, the new champ, Lip Dizzle, Jaeger Bombastic, Juggernaut 097. And I know you can't see me, but you're going to imagine we're going to give this too sweet to each other, because that's how we sign out our videos. But don't forget to love one another, love yourself, take care of one another, take care of yourself, look out for your mental and physical health. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to tag out. Too sweet for y'all. Peace.